Good morning everyone, how are you all doing? I'm Mysticle and today I'm going to bring you the latest in AR and VR news. As you can probably tell, things have gotten a little bit upgraded. I have a tiny little light ring now because people said I looked tired. Those were actually just shadows. But once again, I digress. Let's jump right into the video. We're actually going to begin with something that was very controversial when it happened, the banning of junior accounts in Rec Room. Well, those are now going to be coming back. If you guys watched the previous video, you would know that Meta is now going to be reducing the minimum age required in order to play virtual reality. For the longest time, this was actually 13, however, they're now going to reduce it all the way down to 10. And with that, junior accounts will return. An upcoming policy change from Meta leaves the door open for those aged 10 to 12 to use both Meta Quest and online gaming platform Rec Room. In November of last year, Meta forced Rec Room to block those aged 12 and under from using the app on Quest headsets. This led Rec Room to remove support for limited functionality junior accounts on the platform. Junior accounts are meant for those aged 12 and under and have specific security features to keep them safe. For example, you cannot transmit or hear voice audio, and nor can they send or receive in-game text messages. And they don't have access to custom room tools, and their usernames are randomized. The accounts remain supported across a wide variety of other devices with Rec Room. Later this year, Meta is changing its policy to officially support preteen usage from those aged 10 and 12 on both Quest and Quest 3, opening the door for the accounts to return. To quote, "Yes, they're going to come back." The Rec Room CEO told Upload VR, "We think they're a great safety feature for children, and we're excited to be able to bring them back to the Quest platform." This was incredibly controversial, as a lot of people were very against Meta removing these accounts. Children are going to be on the platform whether you like it or not, and these junior accounts offered a variety of safety features in order to keep the children safe. If you remove those features, if you remove those accounts, those children are just going to come back with teen accounts and essentially not be protected. However, now with them coming back, those children can hopefully now come back onto the platform using junior accounts and be safe. But you know, that does also leave the door open for more children in virtual reality, but that's going to happen anyway, with Meta reducing the age all the way from 13 down to 10. Let me know what you think about this one down below, and with that, let's move on to the next piece of news. This one is going to be quite a long one, so I'm not going to read the entire thing out to you. I'm actually going to leave the article down below in case you're interested in reading the full thing, but essentially, there was a podcast, and on that podcast, we had Oculus founder Palmer Luckey, who told us his thoughts about the upcoming Apple VR and AR headset, and told us about the things that Apple did correctly and incorrectly. The Apple Vision Pro is about to set a lot of expectations in the industry of what's right and wrong about mixed reality, something the fruit company prefers to call spatial computing. Oculus founder Palmer Luckey weighed in on his thoughts, and coming from one of the main figures who kicked off the VR revolution of today, it means something. Speaking to Peter Diamandis in a nearly 2-hour-long podcast, Luckey delivered into many areas of his work over the years. Undoubtedly, the hottest of hot-button issues is whether Apple is doing mixed reality right as a newcomer to the space. Luckey is mostly positive about the Vision Pro, saying it's patently Apple. To quote, "I think there were things that I would definitely do differently if I were Apple," Luckey tells Diamandis. "They did basically everything right. They didn't do anything terrible. I mean, I think Apple is going after the exact right segment of the market that Apple should be going after." Luckey maintains that if Apple went after the low end of the market, it would be a mistake, saying the tech giant is taking the exact approach that I had always wanted Apple to take, and really the approach that Oculus had been taking in the early years. Now, I do certainly agree with him here. I think that if Apple went after the low-end market, they'd be battling with Meta, and Apple isn't exactly known for making cheap devices. It probably wouldn't work out. With its price tag of $3,500 and now its issues with weight, the headset certainly won't be for everyone. How they're going to fix the issues that they're currently having and how much of the market they're truly going to appeal to, except for XR enthusiasts, I'm not entirely certain. But where Apple goes, the industry tends to follow, so hopefully they're doing a lot of those things right. Either way though, once again, full article will be down below in case you're interested in the full thing, and let's move on to the next piece of news. This one is going to make a lot of people happy. The Sony Mocopi, the full body tracking kit that Sony launched in Japan that supports VR chat full body tracking on Quest standalone. It was incredibly impressive, and a lot of people were very excited for it. However, it did seem like that may have been a slight afterthought, the VR full body tracking aspect of it. I think it was mostly meant for motion capture and things like that for VTubers. But of course, with a few updates, it could hopefully become much better. I now have the SteamVR full body tracking kit on my hands, and we were testing it out yesterday, and it works absolutely beautifully. I can't wait to show that video to you guys. But the Sony Mocopi is something people are very interested in, as Sony is a very large, well-known company, and people were waiting for a company like that to release a full body tracking device. So undoubtedly, you're going to be very happy to hear that the Sony Mocopi is launching in the US. The Mocopi trackers come as a full set for $450, available to purchase now via Sony's online store. The set ships to buyers in the United States starting July 14th, and the 6 color-coded IMU-based sensors come in a charging case. I myself might try and get my hands on them in order to see how they compare to other IMU-based trackers that we have tested out on the channel. Sony has made it very clear that there's no integration with that PSVR 2 at the moment, but the company didn't rule out that that might be coming at some point. Currently, the Mocopi sensors communicate via Bluetooth with iPhone 12 and above, as well as Sony's Xperia Android-based phones, but it's possible other modern phones may work. The motion data Mocopi produces can be relayed to services like VRChat, as well as other games in Unity. So you do need a phone in order to work with these, and hopefully you will be able to use any Android phone in order to do it, and not just Sony's Xperia devices, because that would be kind of weird. But talking about things that are happening with Sony, the PSVR 2. The PSVR 2 running with PCVR is something people were very excited for. However, it didn't seem to be happening. It didn't seem like it was a possibility, and even if it was, it would probably take years. One company was going at it with full force, and now, apparently, they've got it working. As PSVR 2 on PC project gets SteamVR output working with major caveats. The project to get PSVR 2 working as a PCVR headset got SteamVR output working by using extra hardware. PSVR 2 already does technically work on PC, but this is in something they call cinema mode, which essentially means you need a compatible NVIDIA GPU to plug the headset into, and it will essentially just display flat screen desktop in front of you. Not really VR, and not incredibly exciting. iVRy, the developer of one of these third-party SteamVR drivers for the original PlayStation VR, has been experimenting with PSVR 2 since they got access to the headset in late February, and we've actually been following their journey throughout this to see how they're doing. The original PSVR 2 was essentially a HDMI monitor with light strips tracked by a stereo webcam. PSVR 2, meanwhile, uses a single cable carrying both video and tracking data over Type-C. And iVRy has frequently publicly pointed out that getting it working as a PCVR headset will be significantly more challenging. In recent months, iVRy has publicly outlined the roadblocks and potential issues involved on their Twitter page, and they did almost stop the project. Day 121, we have liftoff. SteamVR displaying on the PSVR 2 at 120 Hz. Now that is impressive. Tracking is done with PSVR 1, and PSVR 1 on top of my head plus PSVR 2 equals PSVR 3. Sony has hard-coded the PSVR 2's VR DisplayPort output parameters into the PlayStation 5, but the NVIDIA and AMD display drivers on PC don't have this information, and the headset only presents its cinema mode. According to iVRy, to work around this, iVRy programmed a Linux PC to act as the man in the middle, presenting as a PSVR 2 in VR mode to the Windows PC's display drivers and providing the necessary DisplayPort parameters to output to it. This approach gets the PSVR 2 working on PC, but means extra hardware will also be required by end users. Now, I'm sure a lot of people wouldn't actually mind like a small Linux dongle that you have to plug into your PC in order to get this working. Depending on exactly how this works, and if the PSVR 1 is only being used as tracking, we could potentially use any Lighthouse-based tracker in order to track the device. I've already shown this in a previous video that you can use Lighthouse-based trackers in order to track a headset with it. We made the Quest 2 Lighthouse tracked. You can make any device Lighthouse tracked, and therefore I think we could just make the PSVR 2 Lighthouse tracked. Yeah, it's not as cool as using the default built-in cameras, but if you can't use those or if it's too difficult, this may be an easier workaround. But once again, I'm not a software developer. If you guys are are interested in the full thing, I'll leave a link down below to this article, and they've also got Half-Life Alyx working on it because, you know, major flex, having Half-Life Alyx working on the PSVR 2 with Nolo VR for 6DoF tracking and controllers. Now, Google has reportedly killed its AR glasses. I was very excited for the Google AR glasses, as Google's software for augmented and virtual reality seems to be growing, but they will now focus on Android for third-party hardware, apparently. Business Insider's Hugh Langley cites 3 people familiar with the matter as saying the hardware, which resembled standard glasses, was cancelled earlier this year amid the mass layoffs at Google and the departure of Google's AR and VR chief, Clay Baver. The report suggests the cancelled glasses emerged from Google's 2020 acquisition of North. An early version reportedly closely resembled North's product Focals, and the glasses Google publicly showed last year for live translation were apparently a more recent version. Those glasses didn't appear to have any kind of tracking cameras though, and the simulated point of view showed a head-locked overlay, so it's unclear whether Google's cancelled glasses were actually full augmented reality, or just smart HUD glasses of the kind Meta reportedly plans to ship with Luxottica in 2025. Again, I was quite excited for Google's AR glasses, as once again, I'm actually a major fan of Google's software, and I think that, you know, a lot of people are using Google software, Android, in order to run VR and AR, so Google working on that, and they are going to apparently continue working on the software part of things, but I did want to see their hardware. I did want to see what they can come up with. A lot of people love their Pixel devices, you know, and I think that maybe some Google AR hardware could be very sleek and could be very stock, as other companies do tend to shove unnecessary stuff onto their phones, which is why I custom ROM everything. A new Rockstar VR game could be in development. Voice actor suggests. A voice actor's resume may suggest Rockstar could be developing a new VR project. First spotted across Reddit and Recetera, this highlighted the resume of actor Michael Ursa, primarily a film actor. Ursa's credits also include Wanderer VR, an unnamed Borderlands project, Silent Hill, and Elton John VR promo. Under a VR section, his resume previously mentioned an undisclosed Rockstar game. However, that's been since removed after this entry was spotted. Given the vast range of franchises Rockstar Games owns, like Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead Redemption, and Bully, it's hard to speculate what this upcoming project could be. Following 2017's La Noire, the VR chase files, HTC told Upload VR that Rockstar wasn't done with VR yet, and in 2020, Rockstar was hiring for a new AAA open-world title in virtual reality. Could Rockstar be working on a potential VR game? There are certain leaks suggesting that they could be, and I know a lot of people would be very happy if they were. With the titles that they have currently, Rockstar could be working on something absolutely massive, and the titles they normally produce are quite fleshed out and big. So having something that big in VR, like Grand Theft Auto, for example, would be absolutely incredible. With that being said though, that's going to be it for today's video. If you guys liked it, please do leave a like. If you disliked it, I guess the button works too. But let me know why down below. If you guys are not yet part of our community, check out our Discord and check out our Reddit down below, where I want to see you posting your spicy memes. And thank you so much to all the patrons supporting this channel. You guys are helping me out a ton right now, so much love. And of course, if you guys want to be notified about all the future projects that I'm working on right now, including Pimax Crystal, and of course the Slime VR trackers that we got to build live when we were in the Netherlands, do make sure to smack the subscribe button with your forehead, ding my bell, and see you again in the next video. Peace.